Hare Krishna. Is everybody here to able to hear me?
I can hear now.
Yes. Okay. I apologize for the inconvenience, Maharaj. There were some technical problems earlier, but we would start now. Hare Krishna, everybody. So today we will continue with our session for Siksa Guru and Diksha Gurus. Before we start, Maharaj, I would like to give you I would like to give the joinees of the meeting a small introduction. So Bhanu Swami holds a BA in Oriental Finance, a Fine Arts History from University of British Columbia. He joined ISKCON, the Hare Krishna movement in India in 1970. Was initiated in 71 by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and took sannyas in 1984. Bhanu Swami was personally instructed in deity worship by Srila Prabhupada within ISKCON. Also, Bhanu Swami has been a GBC member since 2003, and he has written immense books on Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So yes, Maharaj, you can start now. Yes, start.
Okay. So we're talking about Shiksha and Diksha Gurus here. We have many verses from different scriptures, including the Charitamrita that mention the concept of Shiksha and Diksha Gurus. Originally in ISKCON, when we talk about Guru, it usually meant Diksha Guru, and the word Shiksha Guru was not quite current. But then when Chaitanya Charitamrita came out, then we find this use of the word Shiksha Guru as in the above statement here. I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of my spiritual master and my instructing spiritual master. So the Shiksha Guru is called the instructing spiritual master. So this was a little bit of a new concept that came into ISKCON at that time when Chaitanya Charitamrita came out. Similarly, we find this in the Adi Lila. Initiating and instructing spiritual masters are equal and identical manifestations of Krishna, although they have different dealings. So here we find that they're to be treated equally. Another one, in the initiating spiritual masters, the personal manifestation of the Madana Mohan Vigraha, instructing spiritual masters, a personal representation of Srila Govinda Dev Vigraha. Of course, Madana Mohan is Sambandha Gyan, and Govinda Dev is Abhidheya, or the Bhakti Yoga process. There's no difference between the shelter-giving Supreme Lord and the initiating and instructing spiritual masters. If one foolishly discriminates between them, he commits an offense in the discharge of devotional service. Here in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, we have a little bit of a definition. The spiritual master who first gives information about spiritual life is called the Vartma Pradashaka Guru. The spiritual master who initiates according to the regulations of the Shastras is called the Diksha Guru. And the spiritual master who gives instructions for elevation is called the Shiksha Guru. Another quotation, there are two kinds of instructing spiritual masters. One is the liberated person, fully absorbed in meditation and devotional service. The other is he who invokes the disciple's spiritual consciousness by means of relevant instruction. So here the first one is a person on bhava or prema. The other is an instructing spiritual master on the lower level who gives instruction. And from Srimad Bhagavatam, Pata Pradashaka Guru means the guru or spiritual master who shows the way. Such a guru is sometimes called Shiksha Guru. Although Narada Muni was his Diksha Guru, initiating spiritual master, Suniti, his mother, was the first who gave him instruction on how to achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Suniti was the Shiksha Guru and Narada Muni was the Diksha Guru. It is the duty of the Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru to instruct the disciple in the right way, and it depends on the disciple to execute the process. According to Shastra conjunctions, there is no difference between the Shiksha Guru and the Diksha Guru, and generally the Shiksha Guru later on becomes the Diksha Guru. To get a more accurate definition, we go to Jiva Goswami. One who accepts a guru who teaches the method of worship, who was the previous Shravana guru, since one has already obtained such a qualified person in the form of a Shravana guru. If one has many Shravana gurus, among them one may accept one of them as a Shiksha guru to whom one has great attraction. Similarly, selecting a person to whom one is attracted, a person takes only one person as a mantra guru, which is a Diksha guru, as many mantra gurus are forbidden. So you can have many Shravana gurus who are a type of Shiksha guru, and out of them, you may choose one as a special Shiksha guru. And then usually the Shiksha guru also becomes the Diksha guru, but not always. The Shravana guru from whom one gets faith, either with Vichara or Ruchi, and the Bhajana Shiksha guru from whom one learns worship are generally the same person. So we're talking about the Shravana guru over here. So he's equated with the Bhajana Shiksha guru. He gives instructions on the method of worship. So we have many quotations about gurus, even in the Upanishads and Vedic literatures. We often quote these in favor of Diksha, but actually, if we examine them, it's not about Diksha at all, it's actually about Shiksha. So there's always worship of Guru, offer respects. So we often quote, Tad Vigyanartam Sa Guru Eva Bigachet. You must go to a guru for getting knowledge. So, and then we'll think, oh, so I have to take initiation, I have to take Diksha. This is from the Mundaka Upanishad. And it's talking here about getting knowledge for spiritual advancement. Here's another one. A guru will teach Brahma Vidya in truth to the student who has completely surrendered, who has controlled his mind, has controlled his senses. By that knowledge, he will know the eternal, indestructible Lord. In both cases, we see that the guru is teaching. Here, you're supposed to understand about the Supreme Lord. So you go to the guru who gives you vijnana. So this is actually getting knowledge. Here's another one, very famous one. To the great soul who has great bhakti for the Lord and guru, the meaning of what was spoken, meanings of what was spoken are revealed. So you should have as much faith in guru and devotion to guru as you have in the Supreme Lord. And then all of the meanings of scripture are revealed. And again, we usually take this as, okay, therefore we have to take Diksha. Another one, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. The person who has an Acharya or takes a guru knows the Lord. This is from Chandogya Upanishad. So if we examine the stories that are associated with these statements, then we'll understand that this is not the Diksha Guru, it's actually a Shiksha Guru. Somebody goes, he's already has an Upanayanam or Vedic Diksha, and then he goes to some other person and he asks for teachings and then he gets taught. So it's all Shiksha. In the Vedic system, we have initiation consists of getting the Brahma Gayatri from the Guru at Upanayanam. Then you become a brahmachari, and then the Guru teaches you, Vedas, etc. So you get your knowledge from Guru. But the one who gives you the mantra is actually your father. So he's the real Diksha Guru, giving you the Brahma Gayatri. And then the other people who teach after that, they are Shiksha Gurus. So in all these cases, a person who is giving the instruction is a Shiksha Guru. Here's a quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Spiritual master should be considered to be directly the Supreme Lord because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. So one has to give great respect, and he's almost, we can say, it's directly the Supreme Lord. Consequently, for one who maintains the material conception that the spiritual master is an ordinary human being, everything is frustrated. His enlightenment, his Vedic studies, and knowledge are like bathing of an elephant. Here's another one from the 11th canto. One should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is a representative of all the demigods. So this one is actually about the brahmachari. If we look at the context of this in the 11th canto, it's talking about the brahmachari and how he conducts himself in the guru's ashrama. So as I mentioned previously, the brahmachari actually got his diksha from his father, and now he's going and getting teachings from a guru in the gurukul. And then he should think of the acharya or the person in the ashram as the non-different from the Supreme Lord. The acharya is like myself. This is what Krishna is saying. So this is actually, again, a Shiksha Guru. So we have to give respect to the Shiksha Guru as if he were God. Huh? So this is not a particular, these are, none of them are particular Vaishnava injunctions to worship Diksha Guru as God. They are Vedic injunctions. And in this particular verse, it's a Varnashrama Vedi. The brahmachari should worship his guru in the gurukul as like the Supreme Lord. So what's the difference between Shiksha and Diksha? There's no difficulty with Shiksha. That means one who teaches. So he gives knowledge. However, Diksha is a little bit of a confusing term for many people. Because like in ISKCON, we use Diksha, first Diksha, second Diksha, like this. And then Prabhupada even gives, okay, as long as you accept the teachings, you're initiated. If you are serious about devotional service, you're considered initiated. So we give this, the initiation or Diksha, a very wide meaning. If we go to scriptures, then we'll find in the Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami gives a very specific definition of Diksha, which is quoted by Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Instruction, the first verse at least. So there it says, Divya Jnana Yato Dadyat Kuryat Papasya Samshayam Tasmat Dikshedi Saprokta Dashike Tattva Govida. And then there's another verse that follows, Ato Gurum Pranamyaivam Sarvasvam Vinivedyacha Griniyat Vaishnava Mantram Diksha Purvam Vidara. Diksha is so called by the wise because it bestows divya jnanam, notating Krishna, and destroys sin. So here the definition of Diksha is given by analyzing the meaning of the syllables. Diksha, div for divya jnanam, ksha for papasya samchaya, destruction of sin. It says we take mantra as man and tra. Man means mind, tra means liver. So here was Divya Jnanam and Papasya Samshayam becomes Diksha. Therefore, the second verse, this is the second verse. Therefore, one should offer respect to the Guru, offer him everything, and accept Vaishnav mantra according to the rules of taking Diksha. So this is a little bit of a concentrated definition, and Jiva Goswami expands this a little bit in his commentary. He says, Divya Jnana is knowledge of the form of the Lord and knowledge of one's particular relationship with the Lord in that sacred mantra. So Diksha means to get this Divya Gyanam or transcendental knowledge, knowledge of the Lord, knowledge of one's relationship to the Lord. How does Diksha give you that Divya Gyanam? Through the mantra. So mantra here does not refer to Hare Krishna. It refers to the mantra, Vaishnava mantra, like the 18-syllable Krishna mantra that we get in second initiation. That's the Diksha mantra. So therefore, Diksha refers to getting that mantra. It is mainly for rich householders doing deity worship. So that mantra qualifies you for Pancharatric deity worship. And that's why Jiva Goswami says here, it's mainly for rich householders doing deity worship. Why rich householders? Because rich householders can afford to spend money to make temples and make night offerings and nice ornaments and nice clothing for the deity. So then particularly the function of Diksha is deity worship. And that is why we say that you cannot worship the deity unless you have second initiation. With that second initiation, you get the sacred mantra, Krishna mantra. That qualifies you for deity worship. So technically speaking, Diksha therefore means what we call second initiation, where you get the mantra of Krishna. There are many statements to emphasize you have to take Diksha, like this from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Just as Brahmanas who have not taken the thread are not qualified for studying the Vedas or other duties and gain qualification from receiving the thread, those who have not taken Diksha are not qualified for uttering the mantra or worshiping the deity. Therefore, one should undergo Diksha and be praised by Shiva. So you should worship the deity, and to do that, you should get the mantra. And that is Diksha. So the getting the mantra in Vaishnava Diksha is very closely associated with deity worship. And we have so many statements to say you have to take Diksha. Unless one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, all his devotional activities are useless. A person who is not properly initiated can descend again into the animal species. So when we hear verses like this, then we try to encourage everybody to take initiation. You have to get a Diksha Guru, otherwise you're useless. However, as I pointed out, we have the two types of guru. Sometimes, of course, the Diksha Guru is also Shiksha Guru, but you can have Shiksha Guru independent of the Diksha Guru. So the Diksha is for getting the deity mantra, Kim Krishnaya, etc., by which you can worship the deity. And we have Shiksha teachings, which are necessary, even if you don't do deity worship. Yeah? So sometimes the Diksha Guru is also giving the teachings. That's usually the case. So that Diksha is important, where Archana is the main process of bhakti. And that was so before Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, in other sampradayas like Sri Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, Archana got a very prominent role. And therefore, Diksha also is a very prominent element, because you can't do the Diksha unless you can't do the worship unless you got the Diksha. So the scriptures often emphasize Diksha, necessity of Diksha, because deity worship was the process. With Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this changed radically. Deity worship was not the main process. Nam Sankirtan becomes the main process. And thus Archana and Diksha become less important. Of course, within our Sampradaya, chanting the holy name is most important. We don't reject Diksha. We also encourage people to do it. It's one of the 5 main angas, but nevertheless, Nam Sankirtan takes prominence over everything else. Nam Sankirtan does not need Diksha. Chanting Hare Krishna does not need Diksha. It is not a secret mantra. We chant it from day one of doing sadhana. So the chanting the holy name is not dependent on diksha. Nevertheless, we do have statements in Chaitanya Charitamrita that emphasize diksha. For instance, it says, at the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders unto the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him to be as good as himself. When the devotee's body is thus transformed into spiritual existence, the devotee in that transcendental body renders service to the lotus feet of the Lord. So therefore, through diksha, you can develop your spiritual body and serve the Lord in the spiritual world. So then we think, then we have to take diksha. But then again, we have opposite statements that emphasize Nam Sankirtan is complete in itself. For spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there's no alternative, no alternative, no alternative to the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. It's a very famous quotation. So emphasis is on chanting the holy name. And it is independent of diksha. It doesn't depend on diksha. You can chant the holy name without diksha, and you can get the best results. O best of Brahmanas, even without initiation, preliminary purification, or acceptance of the renounced order, one can attain perfection in devotional service simply by chanting the Lord's holy name. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna once, a person is relieved from all the reactions of a sinful life. One can complete the 9 processes of devotional service simply by chanting the holy name. If we chant the holy name, we can accomplish deity worship, or whatever you get the mantra for worshiping the deity from Diksha, all accomplished by chanting Hare Krishna. One does not have to undergo initiation or execute the activities required before initiation. One simply has to vibrate the holy name with his lips. Thus, even a man of the lowest class can be delivered. So from these statements, we see that chanting the holy name is greater than deity worship. Nevertheless, in our sampradaya, we do both processes. So we have diksha, in which we get the deity mantra, and then of course through that we realize a relationship with the Lord, and is mainly for archana, which we call pancharatra marga. But we also have nama, chanting the holy name, which does not require diksha. Also, we get sambandha again, we realize a relationship with Krishna. This is called Bhagavata Marga, or the Yuga Dharma. Of the two, we emphasize nama. So the question may come, well, then why we put so much emphasis on diksha? Why we need the mantras at all? So Jiva Goswami also says that the worship of the deity is essential to reduce one's restlessness due to the contaminations of conditioned life. So some people, they cannot just chant all the time. They need engagement of their senses. So deity worship provides a means to engage our senses. Therefore, it's very suitable as a secondary element of bhakti. And therefore, we should take initiation for that reason. Since the Lord, we see Lord Chaitanya himself was emphasizing holy name, and it says independent of diksha. But then Lord Chaitanya accepted diksha, and he had followers like Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit Nityananda, Srinivasa Acharya, Shamananda Narottam, and they also continued the diksha lines. Many of these lines were also Brahmana hereditary lines, which are criticized by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And of course, Raganuga practices were also passed down through many of these lines. So therefore, in spite of the fact that Lord Chaitanya emphasized Shiksha and chanting Hare Krishna, Diksha still gets quite a lot of emphasis. And it was carried on after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in ISKCON, again, we have Shiksha and Diksha. When the first years of the movement, everything was combined in Srila Prabhupada, so he was the Diksha Guru and the Shiksha Guru, and devotees didn't make much of a distinction. Then Chaitanya Charitamrita came out, and we find there is a Shiksha Guru and a Diksha Guru. And then after his disappearance, then we have Diksha Gurus, and we have also some emphasis upon Shiksha Gurus who are separate from the Diksha. So the Diksha Guru usually gives Diksha mantras, that's second initiation, and Shiksha. And the Shiksha Guru doesn't give any mantras, he just gives Shiksha. Shiksha is very important because if you don't have proper Shiksha, you stay at Namabhas. You don't come to Sudha Nam or pure chanting. And if you don't have pure chanting, you can't get to prayer. Although there's some emphasis upon the Diksha, we see that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur emphasized Shiksha because he emphasized the Shiksha Parampara rather than Diksha Parampara. So he traces us back to Narottam. And then we have all the way down to Jagannath Das Babaji, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then Gorkishore Das Babaji, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But the relationships are often Shiksha relationships. So Jagannath Das Babaji was not the Diksha Guru of Bhaktivinoda. Bhaktivinoda was not the Diksha Guru of Gorkishore Das Babaji. So we have Shiksha line traced out in our parampara given in the Bhagavad Gita. So in this way, Shiksha is emphasized rather than Diksha. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, even though he gave Diksha, he emphasizes Harinam. To some disciples, he never awarded Diksha, deeming Harinam alone sufficient for their spiritual progress. And he stated, the success of Diksha is inclination for Harinam. Whoever remains fixed in chanting inoffensively should be understood to have undergone Diksha and all other proceedings. So if you're successful at chanting Hare Krishna, you don't need Diksha. That's what he's saying. Diksha are inferior to the Harinam Asarta. Those who are initiated formally are inferior to those who are chanting Hare Krishna with great dedication. For those who don't believe that the name and the named are non-different, for them, deity worship and Diksha are required. In spite of those statements, still we emphasize Diksha, and even in the Gaudiya Math, they also emphasize Diksha over the Shiksha. We find in Gaudiya Math often the gurus are eager to give Diksha to people. And in ISKCON, the Diksha ceremony becomes very elaborate and prominent with fire sacrifice and chanting of mantras, etc. And more prominent than it is in the Gaudiya Math or in other Gaudiya traditions. In most places, the actual Diksha or giving of the mantra is a very informal, it's not even a ceremony. The guru simply gives the Diksha mantra out to an individual. That's it. No big ceremony or anything. In ISKCON, however, we have huge ceremonies. And this kind of emphasizes the role of the Diksha Guru and puts more emphasis on the Diksha Guru than upon the Shiksha Guru. So we have some additional elements like fire sacrifices and what we call first initiation. We have vows that one has to take also. So these are added elements that ISKCON has added. Even the Gaudiya Math, they don't do this. So we've added some extra things here. And this kind of puts a prominence, makes the Diksha Guru more prominent and the process of Diksha prominent. In spite of the fact that we see that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and even Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Charitamrita, they say at least the Shiksha Guru should have equal importance in worship as the. If we look in the Gaudiya lines, the Diksha is very simple compared to what we do. They simply give the mantra. And this, of course, is the real function of Diksha in its Shastra definition. If you look in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Gopal Kumar, the young boy in Vrindavan, he got a mantra from the Guru. That was it. That was his Diksha. No fire sacrifice, no vows, nothing. He just got mantra. Prabhupada also sometimes takes initiation in a less literal way, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. If you've understood this Krishna conscious philosophy, and if you've decided that will take Krishna consciousness seriously and preach the philosophy to others, that is your initiation. My touch is simply a formality.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Here's another one. The chanting of Hare Krishna is our main business. That is real initiation. And as you are all following my instruction in the matter, the initiator is already there. Now the next initiation will be performed as a ceremony. Officially, of course, that ceremony is valid because the holy name, will be delivered to the student from the disciplic succession. It has got value. The Harinam, what we call the first initiation, which is basically this Nam, it's not the mantras. This has become more prominent in ISKCON than the actual Diksha, getting those deity mantras that qualify you for deity worship. Why do you believe in rumors that first initiation is not so important? The second, I've already said, is equally important. But you say rumor. Actually, first initiation is more important. You can go without second initiation. That means you don't need the deity mantras, which is the real initiation. If the first initiation is executed very thoroughly, that is sufficient. First initiation stands strong. So here Prabhupada is emphasizing the Harinam aspect, not the Diksha of getting the deity mantras. But then he also writes, regarding your question, second initiation is real initiation. First initiation is preliminary. It's to make him prepared, just like primary and secondary education. So this is emphasized, second initiation emphasized because the scriptural definition is getting those deity mantras for deity worship. In that sense, it's the real initiation. That was a little bit ambiguous. We have all sorts of definitions of Diksha, from the very informal, just accept the process seriously. Then we have first initiation as the most prominent thing. Then we have second initiation as the most important part of Diksha. And then we have first initiation or first Diksha. We have second Diksha. So we got two Dikshas. And then added to that, we have a Brahmana Diksha, where we get a Brahma Gayatri mantra. So it's a little bit, there's so many elements there that we call Diksha. Okay. So we have internal acceptance as Guru, which is basically Shiksha, chanting Hare Krishna and getting serious instructions from Guru, like and then first initiation. That's all Shiksha. Second initiation, we get the mantra. So technically that is the Vaishnava Diksha. And then we get a Brahma Gayatri mantra. That's another Vedic Diksha. So we have many things happening within our system of initiation. In the Gaudiya Mata Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made these two levels, but he did not call the first level initiation. It's simply giving the name, Nam Dam. So if you get Tilak, you maybe get a name like Krishna Das or Radha Dasi, etc. And then you actually get the mantras in the second ceremony called the initiation, and then you're qualified for Archana. Along with that, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also gave the Vedic Gayatri mantra, along with an Upanayanam Samskar fire sacrifice. So the reason he did this was to show that the duly initiated Vaishnava surpassed the Brahmanas. And he was qualified to do anything that a Brahmana could do. So therefore, he gave them the Brahma Gayatri mantra and gave them. So that's a Vedic initiation. For preaching purposes, to show the Brahmins that the Vaishnavas as good as they were. So in ISKCON, we've taken that model of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur first, but then we call the first one initiation, first initiation, and second initiation. And of course, then we also call the second initiation Brahman initiation. We can merge those two together, the second initiation and the Brahman initiation. And of course, the same elements are there. At first, you get tilak and neck beads and name Krishna, Chaitanya Das, etc. But in ISKCON, we have emphasized something else, and that is the vows. We make promises and no illicit activities, all this, following regulated principles, chanting 16 rounds, receiving beads from Guru, and we do a non-Vedic fire ceremony. Then a second initiation, largely the same as Gaudiya Mat, Krishna mantra qualified for Archana, and then the Brahma Gayatri mantra as well. But what we do is we do a non-Vedic fire sacrifice again. We don't do the Upanayanam sacrifice. And in ISKCON, the women also get the Vedic Brahma Gayatri, though they don't get the thread. So this is a little different from what happens in the Gaudiya. So because of this complex ceremony and a little bit of ambiguity about the word initiation, the Diksha Guru becomes very, very prominent within ISKCON. Even though, shastrically speaking, the Diksha is getting those deity worship mantras, which are used for deity worship, that's fine. But as far as our day-to-day sadhana, we don't chant those mantras much, maybe 3 times a day for 10 minutes. And the most time is taken up with chanting Hare Krishna. But nevertheless, we emphasize the Diksha Guru. And even the Brahma Gayatri, spiritually speaking, it's an add-on to preach to the Smarta Brahmanas in Bengal. And so it's not really something we're using for sadhana. And of course, we have the first initiation, second initiation. So the first initiation becomes very, very prominent. And this we call Diksha. Of course, Prabhupada, one place says first initiation more important, another place says second initiation is real initiation, but nevertheless, generally, we emphasize first initiation as more prominent. So we equate that with the Diksha, even though in Gaudiya Mat, they don't even call that Diksha. So all of this puts very much emphasis upon the Diksha Guru. He's giving you the holy name, he's accepting your vows. We have rituals and fire sacrifices. He's also giving shiksha. And then later on, if he gives second initiation, he gives deity mantras, qualifies you for deity worship. He also gives you the Brahma Gayatri mantra for Brahma Diksha. So then there's a lot of emphasis put upon a Diksha Guru. So we can ask, well, what's wrong with prominence for Diksha Guru? One objection, of course, among many people, like temple presidents, is that most of the shiksha is not given by the Diksha Guru, is actually given by temple presidents and other people. He trains up the devotees, then he recommends them, and then Diksha Guru gets those disciples, and then the disciples worship the Diksha Guru and they forget about all the Shiksha Gurus. And of course, we should not forget that shiksha is very important. And Chaitanya Charitamrita says that the Shiksha Guru and the Diksha Guru are equal, and they should be given equal respect. In any case, we should give respect to those people who give us guidance on a practical level on a day-to-day basis, and not disregard them after we take. So we do need, as well as shiksha, or well as diksha, we do need shiksha in order to get the prema. Another problem with emphasizing the Diksha Guru at the present time is that it minimizes the position of Srila Prabhupada, who is not our Diksha Guru, for most of you, he's the Shiksha Guru. So by emphasizing Diksha Guru, we tend to forget the Shiksha, and we even tend to forget Srila Prabhupada. So in ISKCON nowadays, we're trying to emphasize the role of Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya and the Shiksha Guru for everyone. But if the Diksha Guru becomes very prominent, then it overshadows even Srila Prabhupada. And if we go into the future with many, many generations, then this danger of overshadowing Srila Prabhupada becomes even greater. By emphasizing the Diksha Guru of everything, we tend to get a little bit of a distortion and a little bit of disunity because the disciples are loyal to their Diksha Guru and they're not so loyal to the ISKCON society that Srila Prabhupada set up. So we do have some resolutions passed by the GBC to put more emphasis upon Srila Prabhupada. ISKCON members should be trained to place their faith, trust, and allegiance first and foremost in the founder Acharya, who is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for every member of ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada is to be worshipped through his words, his murti, his picture, and his devotees. So we should respect Diksha Guru, but we should also give respect to the Shiksha Gurus who are giving instructions. And then we should also give most prominence and most respect to Srila Prabhupada, who's the founder of Acharya. So we should balance out the respect that we're giving. Here's another GBC statement in 2013. All members of ISKCON for all generations are encouraged to seek shelter of Srila Prabhupada. All members of ISKCON are entitled and encouraged to have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada through his books, teaching, service, and his society. Often people say, wow, I can't dedicate myself to so many people. I can only dedicate myself to one guru, so that will be the Diksha Guru. But that is not really so. We see in Krishna Bhajanamrita, for instance, it says, the father is like the guru. His older and younger brothers are also gurus, but the father of one's father or a great relative worthy of greater respect is also guru. But his worship should be double that of the father. This is well known among the virtuous people. So we give more respect to the elder. So in the same way, we can give more respect to Prabhupada, less respect to Diksha Guru and Shiksha Gurus, but we respect them all. So in this way, we have a whole parampara system, and with ISKCON, we have to give extra emphasis to Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya of ISKCON. How is this spiritual Shakti transmitted? Here we see that we have a whole line of acharyas and inspiration passing from one to the other. So how does that spiritual Shakti go? Is it through the ceremonies like the fire sacrifice? Is it the spiritual name? Is it the beads you get? Is it the Diksha mantra? Is it through Hare Krishna? It's through the teachings. It's through the personal presence of a Shiksha Guru or a Diksha Guru. So of course, everything helps. There's bhakti and all these things. So yes, the Shakti is coming through that, or through the ceremonies and through Hare Krishna mantra, through the Diksha mantras, through the teachings, through the personal presence of Shiksha and Diksha Gurus, etc. So there's Shakti, Bhakti Shakti is in all of these things. But then, of course, we do have the position of Srila Prabhupada within our ISKCON society as the prominent, preeminent Shiksha Guru. Said we should also emphasize that among everything else. He is actually the founder who established all the elements of Shiksha and Diksha. So if we're going to respect Diksha, the Diksha Guru, we should also take it back to Srila Prabhupada, who founded this whole system. Because of the presence of a person physically, usually the physical present person is the one who gets the most attention and respect, and people will worship that person. And so we can say that's a natural thing, that people are attracted to persons rather than institutions or persons who have already disappeared or left this planet. So this is one reason why the Diksha Guru becomes very prominent, because he is the living person who is delivering the Diksha mantra, the teaching, doing the ceremony, etc. But then, of course, that overshadows Srila Prabhupada. So we do have to think of ways in which we can make Srila Prabhupada more prominent in our life. So we can think of Prabhupada as the main deliverer of this Bhakti Shakti. Maybe we can have some ceremonies to accept him as our shelter. and that all the other gurus are his mediums or whatever. Anyway, these are just proposals or whatever. But somehow or other, we have to connect everyone to Srila Prabhupada and not let the present Diksha Guru overshadow every individual devotee's relationship with Srila Prabhupada. So we had these quotations: the spiritual master should be considered to be directly the Supreme Lord because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. One should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he's a representative of all the demigods. So as I pointed out, a lot of these are quotations are actually from Shiksha Guru, and but we usually apply to Diksha Guru. But we can actually apply this to Srila Prabhupada also as the preeminent Shiksha Guru. And we should give great prominence to Srila Prabhupada for that. A devoted disciple of the spiritual master would rather die with the spiritual master than fail to execute the spiritual master's mission. So we shouldn't only think of the Diksha Guru in this case, think of Srila Prabhupada and his orders. Yeah. So a common problem we face is how to keep Srila Prabhupada prominent in the future. We have second generation disciples now, and then in the future we'll have third generation, fourth generation, etc. And Prabhupada is more distant in terms of years from these devotees. So how do we guarantee prominence of Srila Prabhupada? So this is a question we have to ask and somehow try to get an answer to individually. But of course, one of the answers is that somehow we should regard Prabhupada as the main Shiksha Guru, and he is giving his Shakti to all the members of ISKCON in the future. Okay, that's it. Any question there?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you for wonderful lecture and giving insights about the topic. Maharaj, I had a question. Like in when we are preaching, we basically when we are teaching the new people or the new comers, we basically talk about Srila Prabhupada, and as you mentioned, we introduce them to prominent Shiksha. We introduce Srila Prabhupada as the prominent Shiksha Guru to them. But what happens is practically when we are preaching, somehow or the other, we feel that this disciple should like hear more lectures. Like if I am being influenced by my spiritual master, when I am preaching, I have an obvious tendency of giving the same things that I have been influenced by. So how do I avoid it and make sure that I always ensure that Srila Prabhupada is the prominent Shiksha Guru and not the one whom I am influenced by?
Well, I think we have to be a little mature and not be fanatical towards one guru, the Diksha Guru. We do have one rule in ISKCON: you should not canvass for your guru. So we have to be a little mature and understand that as representatives of ISKCON, we should be a little neutral, and we should allow everybody to choose for themselves who their Diksha Guru should be. And even though we have our own Diksha Guru, we don't force our guru upon another person. We leave it up to their free will. So that requires a little bit of maturity on the part of the devotees. Some devotees, of course, think it is their duty to make disciples for their guru, but that actually is not the order of guru at all. That's something that individuals are concocting in their own mind. So we should think of the unity of ISKCON and how Srila Prabhupada is the center of everything. So to try to emphasize that, and that any Diksha Guru actually is only a representative of Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj. That was really helpful. Maharaj, just to ask a follow-up question to what you just explained. Maharaj, sometimes it's as per time, place, and circumstances that if we are associated with particular temple, then like the particular temple has a local sannyasi or some particular Maharaj or some particular guru. So by it's a natural tendency that even though we don't wish to, but the it is been seen that we are influencing the person towards that particular guru who is associated with that local temple.
Yeah. So then,
So, Maharaj, when we are preaching, some might just say us, "Oh, you're preaching for this particular guru or this particular spiritual master," but
mhm,
it's not that we are actually doing that intentionally. It's just
mhm.
because of the time, place, circumstances, because of the availability of that particular spiritual master
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
at local
Yeah,
place.
so that may be there. Sometimes nobody goes there to that particular place anyway. So what are they supposed to do? So they take the most convenient person, perhaps, for that reason. So there's no fault for doing that. The main thing is we should not try to canvas and force people to take from a particular guru because he's my guru. As long as we're careful of that, that's the main element.
That's nice, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. I have a question, Maharaj.
Mhm.
Thank you for giving such a wonderful class and enlightening on this important topic, Diksha Guru. Maharaj, most often like Diksha Guru is very clear. We know like this is our Diksha Guru. We get initiation. We get the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But Siksha Guru is often like we have many people giving us knowledge. But can everybody of them be called as our Siksha Guru, or how do we
Yeah.
know? Like
Well, you can have many Shiksha gurus, and not just one. So that's allowed. You can only have one Diksha guru who gives mantra. Now, you're not taking from mantras from different gurus. You get one mantra, the Krishna mantra, and that's it. And you don't go to another guru for another mantra. So we could have many Shiksha gurus. Of course, we can, if one Shiksha guru becomes very prominent and we're going to equate him like the Diksha guru and worship him in the same way, then that would be a special person who's giving us more significant knowledge. So then he's put on an even higher platform of respect and is equal to the respect we give to the. There's no
yes, but
formal ceremony, of course, for that.
yeah, thank you, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, is there any like qualification in our ISKCON? Like, do you need some qualification to become a Siksha Guru, or like?
We don't have we don't have any particular thing. For Diksha Guru, we do some degree of qualification, etc. Shiksha Guru has not been well defined because there's many levels. So there's been no attempt to define who should be accepted as a Shiksha Guru who is equal to your Diksha Guru. Or we could say similar, it would have similar, similar standards or whatever. The only thing different is that the Diksha Guru gives mantra and the Shiksha Guru does not give mantra. But we could say that the person you're going to worship as a Shiksha Guru who is equal to your Diksha Guru would have similar spiritual status and similar qualities.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj, for answering very wonderfully and enlightening us.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize, Maharaj. Initially, I think my speaker and microphone, they were not working, but then I restarted the laptop and now it is working. So actually, Maharaj, I think almost half of the class I have missed because of trying to fix it up, and the remaining portion I have heard. But Maharaj, like I did hear Radhika Kishori Mataji's question about the aspect of not convincing the guru, because like that is one way of connecting the devotees. But on the other hand, we also know that when we have a local structure, and then it is very compatible and very easy to manage if the devotees are connected to that particular guru in that locality. So these are like practical aspects of although maybe shastrically it is not supported, and we don't also want to canvas, but at the same time we see that when we connect a devotee to that particular area, and if they are getting guidance and training from that particular guru, the local guru and their disciples, then it becomes very easy. Otherwise, what happens is if that devotee takes initiation from some other guru who is located in some different part of the world, and so in terms of communication and taking guidance, it becomes a problem. And then the devotee probably will not even have that kind of faith for other devotees, for the disciples of other gurus. So generally, they will probably show more faith to their own guru or to their god brothers. So in such scenarios, what should we like? How should we balance and manage?
Yeah, well, so the main element here is that we don't want to force anybody. Of course, because the one guru is in the area, it's more convenient, etc. Well, all we have to do is outline to the particular person that there are many gurus in ISKCON. You do have an opportunity to choose if you so want to, and you could listen to their lectures or correspond with them on internet or letter or whatever you want to do. So no one is forcing you to choose one or the other. At the same time, if you want, if one guru is coming to the area more, there may be naturally easier to choose that guru than others. But nevertheless, you are free to choose anybody you want to. So you leave the option open to the person. And at the same time, you just say that it may be more convenient to take from the local guru, unless you have some particular objection. If you do, then you take from somebody else. But so we should just leave the choices, make it clear that the choice is open, in spite of the fact that it's more convenient to take from a guru who's in the local area.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Maharaj. It makes sense. And Maharaj, one follow-up question with this is that um, the one particular implication of this is that we cannot emphasize the teaching of our Diksha Guru, but we should try to emphasize the teaching of Srila Prabhupada when we have such scenarios. And we have to also be open-minded, we have to be broad-minded, because every devotee is individual, unique, and they have their own way of connecting with Krishna. So like maybe probably the disciples of a particular guru, they have a particular emphasis. But then when some other devotee will come, and if he has taken Diksha from outside that temple from other guru, then obviously the emphasis of that devotee will be different. So when we are in a temple, there has to be cooperation also. So in that sense, all the devotees in the temple should also be broad-minded and not just focus on their guru's emphasis or teachings, but rather see in the spirit of how Prabhupada presented and how Prabhupada accommodated everything.
Yeah. So the disciples should not be too fanatical and should have a broad outlook to see how to accommodate all of the gurus, disciples of different gurus within ISKCON, and that's more pleasing to Prabhupada. In other words, we cooperate together, and that the Diksha Guru is there. Maybe there's a slightly different emphasis on in each Diksha Guru on what the disciples do, etc. But nevertheless, we try to appreciate all the contributions of all the devotees and all the gurus, and try to work within that system to cooperate within it.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. I think Radhika Kishori Mataji has another question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So Maharaj, I had one more question. Sorry for that. Actually, what happens is sometimes if we have a Shiksha Guru and a Diksha Guru, and if our Shiksha Guru is not disciple of our Diksha Guru, then probably sometimes it happens that the mood of preaching or the mood in which we have been practicing our devotional service could differ. Of course, the goal and the motive is the same, mission motive is the same, but the mood might be different. So in that case, how do we deal with this situation?
If you prefer a different emphasis, maybe you choose a different Shiksha Guru. Because we can have many different Shiksha Gurus or one Shiksha Guru or whatever. So we do have a choice. And maybe we choose that Shiksha Guru who is more in line with the emphasis that the Diksha Guru gives.
Okay, but Maharaj, also, like initially when we were introduced to Krishna consciousness, there were like few people or few Shiksha Gurus, because of whom we got to this particular decision of getting particular Diksha Guru. But then later, though the Diksha Guru of the Shiksha Guru as well as me are different, so but then late it becomes like difficult for us to leave the previous Shiksha Guru, like
Mhm.
because that is where through we
Yeah.
got cultivated and we
Yeah,
got
yeah.
all the
Well, yeah,
knowledge.
we always have to give respect to those persons who have given us some teachings, you know? So we have to give respect in any case. We may not have the same after we take Diksha. We shouldn't, disregard or disrespect the Shiksha Guru because he's given something valuable to us. If you detect some sort of difference between the teachings or whatever like that, then of course you can give more emphasis to the Diksha Guru or whatever. But of course, the difference in the emphasis also may be not so significant. I don't know what it is in a particular case, but if it's not too significant, then you can disregard that and give proper respect. If it's very significant, of course, then maybe you have to, put more emphasis on the Diksha Guru.
Thank you, Maharaj. That was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Um, Maharaj, I have a follow-up question with this. So like it can also happen that sometimes like I have read who is Holiness Shivaram Maharaj's book, The Siksha Guru, and
Yeah.
he addresses this point that a devotee may have more affection or inclination towards the Diksha Guru. On the other hand, a devotee may also have more affection or inclination towards the Siksha Guru because of their teachings.
Yeah.
So basically here we know that okay, Diksha Guru is actually taking a prominent role in the sense that it's kind of relative, right? Because it ultimately depends on the disciple, because they may have more affection, they may have more liking for the Siksha Guru, and they are probably
Yeah.
more inspired by the Siksha
Yeah.
Guru's teachings.
Well, we see the
So then
example of
the Siksha,
Bhakti Vinod Thakur and his Diksha Guru, and then Bhakti and Jagannath Das Babaji, for instance. So we're putting more emphasis on Jagannath Babaji, the Diksha Guru, than on Bipin Bihari Goswami, who was the Diksha Guru of Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
yeah. So in this case, the Siksha Guru will take a prominent role, right? And the
Yeah.
Diksha Guru is
Yeah.
kind of like supposed to assist the Siksha Guru, kind of.
Yeah.
It will
And as I
reverse the role.
said, traditionally the function of the Diksha Guru is to give those Diksha mantras or deity
Right.
worship. And
Yeah.
somebody else may give all the Shiksha, in which case he would become more prominent.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, it's the disciple who actually decides who is the most prominent guru for him.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. There is one question by Anand Vrindavan Devidasi, and she's asking about that whether we can, if someone takes first initiation from one guru, and later on if they get inspiration from some other guru, like
Yeah.
other Siksha Guru, so can they take the second initiation from that Siksha Guru?
If he's qualified to be a Diksha Guru, you could, I suppose. In other words, you take first initiation from one guru and second from another one. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean in ISKCON I think we have a system where the Diksha Guru gives the first and second, right?
There's no rule like that. It's a normal process, but it's not the rule. There's no law like that.
Oh, so in ISKCON also can, even if the Diksha Guru is present, is alive, and if
It's
the
possible.
Diksha disciple, uh, he can take second initiation from the Siksha Guru.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Okay, and is this implemented in ISKCON, Maharaj? Because we have not seen
I
any.
don't know any examples of that. All we have examples is, of course, Prabhupada gave first initiation and he disappeared, and somebody gave second initiation like that. So that we have some examples like that, but that's only in the case of someone who's disappeared and they couldn't give second. Now we have the case of Bhakti True Swami. He gave first initiation to some, but then they had to do deity worship. So Jagadaka Maharaj gave the second. So
Yeah, but that's an exception because the Guru is not
yeah,
alive.
Yeah, yeah. So there may be some cases like that. As much as possible, there should be at least some permission given between the two. They take permission from the first initiation guru that I want to take second from this person, maybe, and then they work it out. It's
Okay,
possible.
okay. Yeah, I mean, this is something we have not seen in ISKCON because
No.
there's only one guru who gives both initiations.
Yeah. Of course, in other sampradayas and even outside the Gaudiya Math, there is no two initiations at all. Even Gaudiya
Yeah,
Math, there's no two initiations. The first is not called initiation at all. It's only in ISKCON
right.
that.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Okay, we have another question from Anant Vilas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, the question is you properly gave us the understanding of how we should not canvas for our Diksha Guru, and Srila Prabhupada is the preeminent Siksha Guru for all of us, and whoever comes to ISKCON, we should make them establish their relationship with Prabhupada, and then they can go forward and choose their spiritual master. But what is the more mature way in the second phase, Maharaj? How we should actually give them the path so that they choose a spiritual master? Like what should be done in ISKCON so that they can go through a proper way to choose a Diksha spiritual master?
Well, one, as I said, we should see the functions. What is happening? What is this first initiation? What is second initiation? What is the meaning of Diksha? And where the Shakti is coming from? You know, like the deity mantra is one thing, Harinam is another thing, teaching is another thing. So we have to understand that it's not this because you got a Diksha Guru, then suddenly Shakti is coming.
Yes, Maharaj.
It's the combination of many things, and then above that we have Srila Prabhupada also. So a prospective disciple should understand that Diksha is not some sort of magic ceremony and suddenly you're enlightened or whatever. Yeah? And the guru has special powers to do that. That's not what we're trying to do. Yeah? So we should have a little more scientific or scriptural understanding of what Diksha is, what Shiksha is, what Harinam is, what deity mantra is, and and what the influence of Srila Prabhupada. And based on that, then you take Diksha for Shiksha or Diksha for your spiritual advancement. But not with some concoction or some concocted idea. Somehow when you take initiation, suddenly there's some special, Shakti given to you.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Maharaj, another question is that as you were mentioning that it is not something which is the Shakti is coming only from the Diksha Guru or the Siksha Guru,
Yeah.
but basically the powerhouse is actually Srila Prabhupada. So,
Yes.
so basically, yeah, I mean, this is what we have heard repeatedly in ISKCON, that we are all representing Prabhupada, and even during time of initiation, the Diksha Guru also will confess that on behalf of Prabhupada, I'm giving you the name, and he will give on behalf of Prabhupada. So,
Yeah.
so that itself actually proves that individually the spiritual master, the Diksha or the Siksha Guru, they do not bestow their Shakti directly, but they are bestowing on behalf of Prabhupada. They are actually like a postman. They are just delivering from Srila Prabhupada, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
And yeah, Mara, you have any comments?
Me? Well, yeah, that's correct. Of course, we should say all gurus are actually just they're all postmans. Even the greatest gurus are postmans because it's ultimately coming from Krishna. And then each devotee is just like a channel for Krishna's Shakti.
Yeah. I mean, in the sense that there is a difference between the way the Gaudiya Math actually is promoting the Guru system and the way ISKCON is promoting. So basically, ISKCON is more like a Ritvik system where everyone is doing it on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, basically, which means that Srila Prabhupada's teachings are like the foundation. And
Yeah.
whereas in the Gaudiya Math, the current spiritual master's teachings are actually the most prominent teachings, and they are the foundation. So,
Well, I think it would depend on the Gaudiya Math because ultimately they give the reverence to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also. I don't know to what degree, but they do recognize his role there also as the, the founder of their movement. So I don't know, we can make a general statement and say that they're just emphasizing their own guru.
Okay, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not aware to what degree they do that, like the way we do in ISKCON towards
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada. Yeah.
But of course, in
And
ISKCON, we get the opposite also. Some people, they're emphasizing the Diksha Guru more than anybody. That's why I'm making this whole presentation, to show that we have to take a little emphasis off the Diksha Guru and put more on Prabhupada.
Okay. And Maharaj, like, how do we understand when it is said that, at the time of initiation, when the disciple fully surrenders to the spiritual master, then he takes, from that point, he takes the karma of the disciple, because actually it's an ongoing process. It is not that at some particular point the disciple is making that full commitment.
Well,
like right from the
actually, if you
beginning
just chant Hare Krishna once, all your karma is destroyed, as in the case of Ajamil.
Right.
And that's not even devotion. He's just accidentally chanting the name of Narayana. So destruction of karma is not a real, a significant thing as far as initiation or anything is concerned. Now, previously, they weren't chanting the holy name, and they take initiation, and then they get the Krishna mantra. So then finally they're chanting the name of Krishna and the Krishna mantra. So in that way, they get their karmas destroyed. As we see, Papasya Sankshayam, Diksha means destroy karma through the mantra. But now we chant Hare Krishna, and long before we're even getting initiation, we're destroying our karma. And Hare Krishna doesn't even need a guru. So destruction of karma is taking place in many ways, and often long before we even get even first initiation, we're destroying karma.
Yeah. So in that sense, Maharaj, even Siksha Guru can also take the karma, right? Because they are providing knowledge, and they may also.
What does taking karma mean, actually? Most of it's gone. Karma's gone. What it does mean, in one sense, is because you take responsibility, you share whatever sinful act a person does after getting his initiation. So if the disciple just sins, then you get a share of his karma.
Right.
But that's not only for gurus, it's for the husband as well. The husband takes a wife, he's responsible for the wife. If the wife does a sin, husband gets some karma. If the king has got ministers and the minister sins, the king is responsible. He gets part of the karma. If the citizens sin, the king gets part of the karma. So it's not just for gurus, it's for anyone in any responsible position. They share the karma of the person who's their dependent.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense, Mark. Thank you so much. So any more questions from other devotees?
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, as just to follow up to Prabhuji's question, so Siksha Guru also, I think you very well explained, Maharaj, about like the overall balance of how a devotee should take between Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, and Prabhupada. Maybe, Maharaj, what is my personal experience is because there is not so much emphasis that a Siksha Guru also can take a devotee back to Godhead and has that potency, that Shakti. So maybe devotees.
Well, actually, it's more potency according to some. Shiksha is more important than the Diksha, because actually the Diksha is only giving a mantra, whereas the Shiksha you get Hare Krishna, and Hare Krishna is more powerful.
Yes, Maharaj. So it can be like a combined, like I'm just being more esoteric, Maharaj. So all, like, there can be combined personalities who really can take you back to Godhead, right? Like it's like what we visualize is Prabhupada, then our Diksha Guru, and then thing. But you gave a very nice understanding, Maharaj, of how Siksha is also a very, very powerful, potent, and even sometimes actually more powerful, potent force of Shakti.
Many people are taking you. And as I quote from Krishna Bhajanamrita, you pay respect to your father and to his brothers, your uncles, and to the grandfather and to the great-grandfather. These are all contributing.
Very nice quote, Maharaj. Very nice quote. Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj. But such a great enlightenment for us, Maharaj. Thanks. This session was, and thank you for giving us
Okay.
this balanced understanding.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, that's it?
Okay, Maharaj, can I ask just one last question?
Okay.
So, so is there a strategy of implementing this tradition of the emphasis or importance on the Shiksha Guru in ISKCON? Is it going to be implemented, or because we don't see that currently?
Yeah, we keep trying, but it's very difficult to do, this because there's no formal ceremony or anything like that. So it's a little bit difficult. So how to implement it, and make a law out of it is difficult because we don't have a formal ceremony as such.
Okay. And what we
But
observe
maybe when
is,
they give the disciple course, maybe they should emphasize that more.
okay. And what we observe, Maharaj, is that generally in India, because Indians are kind of, they have a culture, and because of that culture, they give more emphasis and importance to the Diksha Guru.
Yeah.
But we see that in the Western countries, devotees are more shastrically oriented. They want to understand the Shastra, and they will give importance and emphasis accordingly. But India,
Yeah.
it is more like a ritual kind of thing. That
Yeah.
when we see a sannyasi or someone who is like very exalted or elevated, then we want to give them more emphasis like that, rather than understanding the differences between the two.
Yeah. Yeah. So we should not just rely on tradition. We should also see scripture. We should have some knowledge before we even, choose gurus or whatever, Shiksha or Diksha gurus.
Yeah, and Maharaj, Siksha Guru, even a Madhyama can, if a Madhyama is playing a very important role in our disciple's life, and like probably the Diksha Guru might be Uttama Guru, and the Siksha Guru might be a Madhyam Guru. But if the Madhyam Guru is guiding the disciples for lifetime, then he also can take a equal and important role as the Diksha Guru, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
Okay.
thank you so much, Maharaj. It was wonderful session, and I apologize for the technical error, and we beg for your mercy that you keep coming again and again and presenting wonderful topics. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your time. Hare Krishna. Danvatana, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Premras Prabhu, for conducting the lecture.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I knew that this is going to be a extremely useful session. So I wanted to do it earlier, but somehow couldn't do it. And I was like really wondering how many devotees will be joining, because this is a very odd time, especially for devotees in the US. But I do appreciate a lot Anant Vilas Prabhu and you yourself. You have joined and you have asked so many questions, and also the questions were very useful to us, because Maharaj gave wonderful answers to all these questions.
Thank you for organizing and giving the platform to us so that we could